also need to record on my end. Okay, so what does learn Valorant from the ground up actually mean? What are we going to go over? So we're going to be looking at adopting a mindset to learn and grow, which means don't focus on, we've got to win. Instead, focus on we gotta improve. We gotta improve our aim, our crosshair placement, our decisions, our rotations, how fast we're doing things, all of that. That is way more useful to focus on than, oh no, I didn't get 50 kills. So I'm also going to be going through a fairly simple foundation that will guide you through every match. There will be a link to these slides for reference because there's a lot of, this is fairly information dense in places. So I figure it'd be really useful for people just to be able to go back and look over it. I completely forgot to say, I am one of the top mentors on Metafy. I have been for a few months now, should be next month, hopefully. I have been a Valorant coach for a couple of years. This is my full-time job. I coach a Game Changers team, mostly desperately trying to make one into something, which, if nothing else, has meant that I've raised up quite a few players and made that whole scene better. We're going to be... there is a discount code at the bottom, Vixie Foundation, if you redeem it on Metafy at checkout. When booking my sessions at metafy.gg/@Vixie, you'll get 40% off once. So go and redeem that within the next week and it'll be great. So yes, we're going to be streamlining your improvement journey. We're going to be focusing on factors that you can control, rather than things which are completely out of your control, such as, oh, they hit me with a run and gun headshot. Cool, move on. It's fine. They bought a Bucky. Right, that's nice. Out of your control. You can think ahead and go, oh, they might have a Bucky and play around it, but, sometimes it's just, there is no way I could have anticipated that. All right. Cool. We move on and we learn. As it says there, prioritizing skill progression over rank and scoreboard outcomes. So regardless of how you perform, whether or not you're even doing swift play, team deathmatch, regular deathmatch, ranked, anything like that, you can still improve at skills regardless of what your rank is doing. There's a fairly natural rank fluctuation for people who are like just chilling in their rank of about, 200 RL? 200 to 300 RL? You often see this, with immortal players, they just sort of like fluctuate wildly, just because matchmaking. So losing a game does not mean you're getting worse. Separating that from outcome. You're going to be making your decisions simpler and more effective and following a structured improvement model. And then I'm going to end by talking about how to do a VOD review on yourself so you can identify what you need to do. If you have questions, put them in the chat. I am reading. Okay, so one of the most important things is if you wish to improve at Valorant, you need to have a growth mindset, which people talk about a lot. This means shifting your focus from winning to improving. You've got to embrace mistakes as learning opportunities because mistakes happen. You will make mistakes. You will go into games and you will lose. How many games do you make in a day? Like in one game, in one round? I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. You can watch any pro player you want and they are not perfect. They all make mistakes in their aim, in their movement, in everything else. I can't believe you're linking the wrong account, Ed. I am not Roy. Who the heck is Roy? You fixed it. Okay. Yes, Ed has been so kind as to link all of my links, discounts, Discord, and the fact that I do a free introduction, which is very cool. I did finger guns, but you can't see it. Anyways, so one of the most important things when you're learning any game, not just Valorant, but you could be learning how to speedrun, you could be learning Overwatch, you could be learning League of Legends, anything. You could be learning poker, chess. Look at what you can control. Focus on the variables which are within your power. If you can't control it, it's not your problem. If you can do nothing about it, it's not your problem. You know, if you're playing poker, you can't control what cards come up. That's just what the deck is doing. All you can do is look at what you have and make the best decision accordingly. So, for example, you can't control what matchmaking is doing. You can't even control how much RR you gain sometimes just because of hidden MMR. You can top frag and only go like plus 18 because of the lobby. You can't control what teammates you get put with. You can't control what your teammates are doing. You can't be going, oh, my jet never enters. This is the worst. My teammates never do anything. This Omen won't smoke. You can ask them. You can say, hey, if you go in, I'll support you. Or I'll flash when you go in. I'll smoke heaven. Hey, can I get a smoke here? You can influence them, but it is not your control. It's not something you can do. So separate yourself from getting too frustrated at this, because often it's just looking at the field of play and going, this is what I have to work with. What you can control are things like your own aim. You can think about how you prepare for a fight. You can think about what you're saying. So for example, I'm gonna arrow main. Things like that. Communicate your util, communicate where you're going to push. You can even say to your teammates, hey, I'll bait you. Like, or hey, bait me, because, you know, everyone wants free kills. And if you're willing to die for them, awesome. Probably shouldn't do that, but, you know, you can control your positioning. You can control how you move. Those are the things you want to be looking at. You also need to be open to feedback and constructive criticism, and you need to do things like come to these community sessions on Metafy, because just being here tells me you're here to grow, you're here to learn. And most importantly, be patient. Skills take a long time to develop, and it is often about how many games you put in, how much time you put into practice, but it's also going to be about your personal, you know, like individual. It's going to be your focus levels. It's going to be your mentality. It's going to be whether or not you're physically taking care of yourself. Are you sleeping because you need to sleep in order to lock in progress? And yeah, there's a thing in the M training community. People will joke about sleep gains. You know, when like you've wake up in the morning and then you like smash your high scores, and it's like awesome. All right. I also want to talk about how process it goes above everything else. At the base level, you want to focus on your process, not your performance or your result. Process, when I talk about process, I'm talking about what are you doing in order to get performance? What are you doing in order to continue improving your performance? Because your performance will lead to the result that you want. And the way you make goals is you look at your result, then you work backwards and you go, okay, I want to hit immortal. What do I need in order to hit immortal? I need to perform well enough to rank up. I need to do well in these games. How do I do that? I need a process of improving. I need to have a system. If you're screaming at your teammates and getting very sad every game and going, you know, putting way too much of yourself into every single round, carrying it around with you. If you're just kind of showing up and not really thinking and going, oh, I'm just going to run around and follow the team and shoot some stuff, and maybe I'll go over here and that kind of stuff, you're not going to do very well. Like, that doesn't seem like the way to consistent improvement. So when you're focusing on these goals, when you're focusing on things, look at your process. If you're feeling stuck, maybe your process needs work. That's where a coach can help you. A coach can help you improve your process. They can help you figure out exactly what you're doing wrong and then teach you how to fix them. That's what I do. So let's look at Valorant's foundation. I think that there's a lot of things in this game, you know, comms, team play, utility, a lot of techniques, one-ways, everything. A lot of movement tech, not that much because it's Valorant. A lot of different guns, a lot of different things. I think you can simplify it into just 5 things. I used to only do 3, but I thought I'd expand it to 5. And the first one is your crosshair placement. And I'm actually gonna real quick open up Valorant. Let me hop into the practice range and I will quickly change what I'm sharing and hope that Discord is okay with me doing this. Okay, theoretically you should be able to see Valorant. Can we see Valorant or is it showing Discord? The preview is being odd. Anyone in chat able to answer, please? Okay, yeah, awesome. Thank you, Seradox. Okay, great. So this is where it gets slightly easier to glance over these things. So the first thing is crosshair placement. This kind of goes into something I say a lot, which is 90% of how you perform in Valorant is going to be how you prepare for a fight. Fights happen very, very fast. It is alright, gun buddy. Yeah. I coach a few people who work at Riot, and working in Game Changer scene for so long, I have quite a few contexts. I even coach someone who works on the balance team, which is terrifying. I say things and this person's just like, oh, that's so interesting. And I'm just like, I know you did that change. Like, I know you made that change yourself. It's so overwhelming. Anyway, they do. I can tell you from having spoken to people on the inside of Riot that the people on the balance team are all Ascendant Plus. Most of them are Radiant. So, you know, if you ever have that question, wow, do they even play this game? Yeah, they do. They're actually obligated to play at least 2 games a day on their internal servers. And they have very complicated models and data stuff. So that's interesting. Anyway, crosshair placement. So a lot of how you win a fight comes down to how you prepare for it. And this is where crosshair placement comes in. You see a lot of people say crosshair placement is have your crosshair up, have it next to corners, have it at about head height. Let me make it more simple. All of these are good, but it's not the root of it. The root of it is that aiming is hard. So you want the enemy to be as close to your crosshair as possible when they appear on your screen. This way, the aiming gets easier, and if you're lucky, you just have to react. When you react to them when you appear on your screen, just skill issue. Just react to them as soon as they appear on your screen. Anyways, so yeah, when you see an enemy, there we go. That combines the two. When you see an enemy, you want them to be as close to your crosshair as possible. This means you can react faster and more reliably and more accurately. So let's so when you're waiting for an enemy, this means you want your crosshair where their head is going to be. This means that when you go around a corner, and this is something I see a lot with people who are like, who've kind of got the hang of crosshair placement, but are probably like gold, plat, diamond, ascendant, sometimes even immortal, going around corners like this. Does anyone see anything wrong with this peak? Yeah. You move your crosshair while moving. Exactly. You're not pre-aiming it. So what this means is when I go around a corner, if they're here, if I go around this corner and they see me, my crosshair is still moving. Well, their crosshair is probably holding for me. Who do you think wins this fight? It's probably them. So this means at least make an effort to pre-aim this angle. I have no pre-aim in the range. So yeah, you want to be aiming so that when you peek, your crosshair isn't moving and it is ready and waiting. There's some nuance here, but this means you're going to have to be thinking ahead. Whereas the enemy, what angles am I exposing myself to? What am I peeking? How far am I peeking? All of that. Every time you peek, you think there could be a fight, so you need to be prepared. Excellent. That is really good. It means you'll be reacting faster and better. Even if it does sound slightly stressful. So that's your crosshair. You want to make it easy to kill them. Great. Let's talk about how not to die. You don't want to be in their crosshair. Their crosshair is where they shoot. You don't want that. Valorant is a hit scan game that takes one bullet to the head to kill in a lot of cases. Boom, dead. Instant shot. Even accounting for lag, you know, you're only looking at under 10 milliseconds when you also account for the fact that the server rolls back, like rewinds when you fire, to figure out what was happening on your end with your ping to make it work. So they can kill you instantly. That means their crosshair is something that can kill you. So that means don't do this. You see an enemy, you want to move. You want to get out of that crosshair. See, a lot of people go like this because when you're in a lower rank, people aren't going to headshot you instantly most of the time. It's going to take them a little while to kill you, meaning you effectively have more time to win your fight. But when you rank up, if you have habits that are based around the enemy not being able to hit you, that's not sustainable and that's not going to help you grow. So, how do we not be in their crosshair? We go, they're aiming at me. I've missed my shot. This is now a 50-50 aim duel. You don't want a 50-50. That's not how you climb. So, what you do is you probably disengage behind cover if you can. You get one shot. It's like Eminem said in that one song. That was a long time ago. I'm old. So yeah, you peek a corner, you see an enemy, you back out before they shoot you because you don't want to get shot. Because, I mean, it stands to reason, really. There's also builds up to the higher level movement tech, even with movement-based games like, you know, Apex, Overwatch, that kind of thing, where you'll have to track and you want to be doing complicated movement while you're tracking, you know, mirroring, anti-mirroring, mixing up your strafe lengths and your timings, and maybe using cover sometimes. That is all get out of the enemy's crosshair because that is death. Now in Valorant, that's not as applicable, but it is once you start to hit the really, really high ranks, and you can kind of assume that most people will be able to aim and shoot you in the head. This means that when you're anticipating a peak, you can do things like sidestep the timing of the shot. Doesn't work in low ranks because their aim is less consistent. It's also really, really hard. But this is basically where this comes from, this kind of movement. Is theoretically, we're going to sidestep those shots when they come. But if you're against someone who can actually aim, they'll just read your movement, adjust what you're doing, and then kill you. We don't want this, so get out the crosshair. All of this sounds super, super basic, right? You know, how to play FPS 101. But I think it is so basic that people ignore it. People go, I say it, and people go, yep, that is common sense, and then they don't listen to it. Next thing. Very simple rule. 2v1s are easier than 1v1s. That's it. If there's two of you shooting at an enemy, you're more likely to win that fight. That person will die faster, even if you're just spraying at the body. They're going to be overwhelmed because they have two people to kill. They have to be twice as good, 3 times as good, in order to kill both of you before either of you kill them. This is why, when you watch pro games, you will see a lot of team play. You'll see a lot of people doubled up, supporting one another. All that kind of thing. So what this means is you are in a 5v2. Your game sense says they are coming from this direction. So many people just peek it and they go, I'm going to see if they're coming. Maybe shoot them. They're in a 1v1 fight or a 2v1 fight, and you don't have to do that. It's a 5v2. That is 100% a choice you're making. Pick a teammate, hold their hand. Any fight they get into is a 2v1, or a 2v2 at worst. You want the 2v1s in your favor and not in the enemy's favor. If you're outnumbered, you're in a clutch situation, find 1v1s to deny them those 2v1s that they really want. Because if you're in a clutch, or even better, if the enemy is in a clutch, you know, you're in a 3v1, the last thing they want to do is fight more than one person at once. They want to isolate those 1v1s. You don't allow them. So, when you have numbers advantage, just trade. Don't give them those 2v1s. Next thing. I already said it. Think ahead. So, press tab. Look at the scoreboard. It gives you so much information. It tells you the economy. It tells you ult statuses. I can even tell you who's been ult farming if you do it early enough in the game. It can tell you which of your team are overperforming, and maybe you should support them, because if you trade them, maybe they can just go kill everyone. It gives you so much information. You can look at this and go, Chamber is on E, like the enemy team have no money. Chamber really likes to play on B. On Pearl. Let's say your defense, he's attack. We know that he likes to luck on B. He has no money. He's one off his ultimate. I wonder if he's going to pick up that orb. Let's contest it. Boom, game plan. It tells you a lot. Press it, think ahead. I coached someone who was, no joke, like immortal, touched radiant but couldn't stay in it. And this person didn't think what they were going to do once the enemy got on site. They're playing Killjoy and they'd be like, I'm going to defend this. I got my setup. I'm going to shoot them. Maybe Jet's going to dash in with no plan for what to do after that. And then died. And I was like, well, maybe plan about what you're going to do when the round starts. And then suddenly he's winning more games. It's shocking. Next then, you can only control yourself. Like I said, we're focusing on what's within your control. What this means is, no matter how good you are, I don't care if you have, you know, voltaic grandmaster aim. You could be a world record holder in your aim. Anything you like. But this means if you get a kill, if you get 2 kills and then die, you're relying on your teammates to win the round for you. Because if you know, hey, maybe they're a little bit unreliable, try not to die. If they can't win a fight without you, be there with them. If you get into a position where you're going to kill and then get traded, let's say you're gold, you want to be plat. You got a kill, you die, and then you're expecting your gold teammates to carry you to plat. There's a problem there. So yeah, think about what you can control. Try and stay alive. It's one of the reasons why I say that if you're in a low rank, and depending on your agent, even if your utility is great, even if it's really powerful, get a ghost over a classic. Some people disagree. But if you're lower rank and you don't know your teammates, and you go, yeah, I'm comfortable with my aim, be the one who gets those headshots. Be the one who goes, I have a little bit of utility, but also I can kill them. I'm going to be the one who gets these headshots and turns this pistol around, rather than classic, maybe trying to get close, relying on your utility, which realistically you're not going to use all of. And yeah. Okay. Let's hop off Valorant and head back to this slideshow. So this is a graphic that I made a while ago. Again, if anyone has questions, comments, whatever, put it in chat. Here's a graphic I made a while ago. I find it really useful for giving to people to assess how they are just approaching the game. So by providing this list rather than just going, I wouldn't do that, or you should totally do this, this gives the rationale behind that. This is the simplified version. There is a more advanced, more nuanced version. And this is mostly for, like ranked, not coordinated team environments, because there are at different stages of the game, there are just objectively players who have more value. So staying alive is not super valuable. So priority 0, win. This means everything is in pursuit of winning. Sometimes you're going to have to die to win. An example would be, we know Brimstone's playing lineups. It's a 2v1. You've got to defuse the spike. Your teammate's going to defuse. You go push Brimstone. This means Brimstone shooting you and not shooting the spike diffuser. That's an instance where you might need to die to win. But if you can, stay alive. That's priority number 1. Staying alive means you can have impact and you're not bored for 30 seconds while you watch your teammates go, oh God, why are you doing that? No, what? Just stop. Everyone's been there. Some teammates are just a little bit inexperienced and they're not there yet, and everyone climbs on different skills. So this is one of the ways in which you can do that. So staying alive means you can have impact. Priority number 2, keep your team alive. This is because of the 2v1s thing. Having teammates alive is good for the economy. It means your team can have more impact. It means the enemy has something to shoot at that isn't you. Your team might do damage. They might use utility. That'd be great. That info on the map, there's space on the map. Having them alive is really, really good. So as an example, let's say you're playing defense. You're playing split. You're playing on split B. You're playing whoever you want to play. Your teammate is ready to push the barrier. As soon as that barrier goes, they're clearly about to contest a B main. So what do? Do we just go, that's not my problem, and then they die? Or do you maybe do something to help this along? Throw a bit of utility, give them escape, throw a bullet, be there so that if they get pushed by that neon that they clearly didn't think about, you're there to help them, you're there to help heal. Maybe, again, you are on attack. Spike is down. Your team are all pushing to go kill that last person. While it is not the best idea to go push them, and it's much better and you'll lose less people if you all just chill on site and relax, sometimes you just gotta go, my teammate is doing something that is maybe not very smart. If I'm there, we will have a better outcome overall. So keep your team alive if you can, but try not to die for it. Okay, Priority 3, damage and controlling relevant space. These are roughly equivalent in how you should be prioritizing them. It's fairly situational as to which one is important, but if you can deal damage, this does not have to be get a kill. If you can contest space, controlling relevant space is things like the site. It's anywhere the enemy wants to be. So their rotate path, their attack path, anything the enemy wants to do, you're in the way. You're going, we're going to control this. We're going to contest it. We're going to throw some bullets. We're going to show our presence. We're going to throw a bit of utility maybe. We're going to deny you this space. Try not to let anyone die for it, including yourself. But if you can, that's a really good thing to do. The relevant space might also be the site that you're attacking. It could be where they're going to rotate from. So, you know, pushing into CT. If you can get away with that without dying, awesome, do it. Dealing damage. This means, since this is below stay alive, we know that dealing damage is and getting kills is less important than living, because then you can shoot more people. If you get a 140 headshot and disengage, cool, great. You just a body shot later. And then, oh, someone's typing. And then, lastly, abilities. This is mostly because abilities do everything else on this list. The abilities allow you to do the rest of this priority list. So, what this means is, honestly, I mostly put this on here for like Killjoy players, if I'm honest. Baiting your teammates to be alive for you is bad. Questionable. I don't want to say bait your team, but if you're in... So in my experience, I very rarely hear the word baiting in EU. I think it's an NA thing. I don't know why. Anyway, let's think about it like statistics. Yeah, let's think of it. Let's think of it as in we're focusing on what we can control. You're in gold, right? Maybe, I don't know what rank are you. But so let's say you're in gold. You know that if your team makes contact first, you will trade them even if they die. If you make contact first, there is no guarantee that they will trade you, meaning statistically over time, the most consistent play you can make is to let your team make contact and then trade them. Sure, it's slightly rude to, you know, bait your team and let them die, but you're not letting them die. They're choosing to be there. Yeah, this whole thing is aimed at like ascendant and below, so yeah. But you know, even in Immortal, this is true. Like, if your teammates have decided to be in a fight, and you decide to go help them, and then they die, that's not your fault. But yeah, statistically, we're looking at just by the fact that you are the only consistent player between your games. You're the one who can control things. But you know, yeah, absolutely. Once you do get into the higher ranks, you start to go, okay, cool. Sometimes maybe not the best, but yeah. Abilities I put here mostly because of Killjoy players who will run onto site. They will plant the spike. For some reason, Killjoy has the spike. She'll run onto site, and then she'll plant the spike, and then she'll throw her molly, and then she'll throw her second molly, and then she'll put her alarm bot, and then she'll run back into the main, and then place her turret to watch, and then be like, it's okay guys, I've got post plant. Meanwhile, her entire team has like died, and it's like a 3v1. If she'd have stopped focusing on her abilities and instead gone, my team are going to die, I should probably have my gun and shoot things, that would be better. Abilities come below damage. Yeah. This is the advanced list. I am very briefly going to go through this, since this isn't aimed, this session is explicitly not aimed at the higher ranks, so you know. But this is in my slideshow for anyone who wants to, you know, check it later. So in this we're looking at things like staying alive. Good. This is ranked, not team environments, not duos, anything. This is assuming you're completely alone in ranked solo queue. We're looking at overall numbers advantage, if you can, localized numbers advantage. This is things like determining timings. So there's 5 of us. We're attacking through one choke point for some reason, and there's only 2 of them on that site. We should get on site before they can rotate, because we don't want this to be a 5v5. We'd much rather take this fight while it's 5v2. We want to deny the enemy's win condition, so things like they want to defuse the bomb. Let's not let them do this. This is things like they have a star player. This could even be a tournament. So I've actually done this in a tournament. This could be that player is a problem. That player has twice as many kills as anyone else and is making our life hard. Their win condition is that person is alive to get kills. We work on fixing that. Priority number 5 is enabling teammates' positions and plans. So if they're trying to do a thing, try and help it. And then we're looking at things like economy advantage, utility, and ultimate advantage. So if you've used all your util and they haven't, you're at a disadvantage. Impact frags and setups, lineups. Yeah. This is mostly just here for anyone viewing the slideshow later as a sort of reference point. Okay, so we have all these things. How do we implement it? And that is this pyramid of skill mastery, which I found somewhere and modified and put a lovely background on it earlier today. So, base level, you don't know what you suck at. This is probably when you get a coach. Where you're going, there's something wrong, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what the problems are in my gameplay. Then you find out. Maybe you get a coach. Maybe you work it out. Maybe someone tells you. Maybe you see a TikTok. Who knows? Maybe you use that 40% discount code to get a coaching session with me. So knowing what you're bad at, having this conscious incompetence, doesn't mean it's fixed. A lot of people know they have a crouch habit. That doesn't mean it's fixed. They go, how do I fix this problem? How do I stop doing this? Many people know they don't have enough awareness of what their team's doing. How do we fix it? You do it with conscious competence. You isolate what you're working on. Whatever it is. Let me go to a random chat that I have and see if I can find some stuff I got someone to work on. Okay, so one student I gave them 5 focuses, which I tend to do when I'm coaching. So, Windows, get out of the way. So, here are the 5 things that I gave them. This person was Diamond 1. And these were the things that we saw round after round in their VOD review were causing them significant issues. They were letting their team just bait them into 5 people on one choke point, and then that wasn't working because the enemy said, please don't walk in this choke point through utility and gunshots. They need to maybe play off their team's contact. This is a big one if you're getting into higher level team play. If you're holding something, maybe ask someone to play off your contact. Just playing games with more awareness with your team's positions. All that. So, conscious competence. This is where you look at it, look at a situation, look at a problem, and go, I'm going to play some games where I have one focus. And my focus is whatever you're working on. Maybe it's more awareness of team positions, because maybe they know what they should do, but they're just not paying attention to what their team is doing and they're not considering it their problem. So they go play like 3, 5, 10 games where the only thing they're focusing on is being aware of their team positions and moving into appropriate space, going, this is where I gotta be. That's their focus for 10 games. It doesn't matter whether or not they do anything else on the list. Doesn't matter if their crosshair placement sucks. Doesn't matter if anything else is a problem. Because this is the skill that we are isolating and building on. With the new team deathmatch, you can work on this really well. So you work on this. At first, it takes all of your focus. With new players, this is crosshair placement. They try really, really hard to have good crosshair placement, regardless of what else happens. People just kind of work this out. And then over time, it takes less and less and less effort until you don't even think about having your crosshair on the floor. It might require some background checking in and being like, oh, that wasn't good, or got to pay a little bit more attention to this, but it's very little effort until it's just part of how you play the game. If we look at the being aware of your teammates' positions and then making decisions accordingly, what this looks like is you play some games, you try and be aware of where your team are. This leads you to do all the things you know you should do. And then that passive awareness of your team just gets stronger. And then when you stop focusing on it and you stop playing normally, you're stronger than you were before you focused on those things. Hopefully that makes sense. And then mastery is basically just becoming a coach and being able to articulate all of the things that you know you need to work, that, you know, you've worked on, people need to work on. This is the hard part. But for the most part, don't worry about it. So this is the pyramid. This pyramid is your best friend. I use it for Valorant. I use it for other games. I use it for going to the gym. I like running on a treadmill. I noticed my knee was turning in. My conscious competence that I'm doing with effort is keeping good form with specifically my knee that I know turns in while I'm running. Over time, it physically gets stronger, mentally gets stronger. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm better at running. It is with guitar, dance, languages, anything. There's a term in psychology, educational psychology, called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is you do a thing deliberately and then it gets better. Breaking it down into these skills, building it up. This is what I work with my students. Okay. Talked about a lot. The foundation. Talked about growth stuff. We talked about your, growth mindset. We've talked about the, your crosshair placement, enemy's crosshair placement, which builds into movement, which builds into your aim, which builds into thinking ahead and finding 2v1s and everything. Looked at how to make decisions. I've looked at how to improve it. So how do you, without booking a session, though I recommend you do, how would you go away from this now and go, great, I watched this thing with Vixie, how am I going to implement this into my game? The first thing you got to do is play Valorant. Open up ABS, hit record. Play a few games, pick one, and then use your knowledge of the game or this slideshow, which will be available, to find an issue. Maybe you died because you were just not expecting them. Maybe you died because your utility was out. Maybe, your team just stuck way too long in their checkpoint. Maybe your crosshair placement isn't as good as you thought it was. So use these slides, you find an issue. Then you use the pyramid to do deliberate practice. For 3 to 4 games, this doesn't have to be ranked. It can be if you like. This can be unrated. Swift play, deathmatch, whatever your focus is, pick the game mode that will help you isolate it best. Or whatever you would find fun, because having fun is important. So you isolate it, you build on it, you strengthen it, record one of them after you've done it a few times, and then watch a few rounds, see how you're doing. You can go, well, I was focusing on my crosshair placement and it's up, but I'm not pre-aiming. Just watch a few rounds. You don't have to watch the whole VOD. You don't have to, you know, note down every single mistake you make, because that's like, it's good for theory crafting and it's good for improving your game knowledge, but it's not good for helping you personally improve, because you can't focus on 20 things at once. Because if you try to do them all at once, you're going to do all of them badly and feel bad about yourself. And that's not really productive. So keep it focused. Pick one thing, 2 things. Work on it. And if you don't know exactly how to implement it, look it up on YouTube. Ask a streamer, ask a coach, get coaching, get a 40% discount code. Through Metafy with the Pixie Foundation at my Metafy. And then you adjust your focus if needed. So you're going into the VOD review looking for a specific thing. You go, I'm not doing this as well as I thought I was. We're gonna try again. Just course correct as this gets stronger, ensures you're building good form, and repeat. Keeps you very efficient. Thank you, Shiku. Shiku gets so much coaching from me. She started out Iron 1 and is now... I think you take breaks from playing, but you're pushing gold and killing plats now, which is nice. So yeah, this is how you do it. This is the VOD review process. Play a game, record it, pick an issue, work on it, see how you're doing, adjust, repeat. And that's it. That's the foundation of Valorant. Most things you'll see, most of the advice, lots of complicated, one-ways, utility usage, lineups, movement tech, Pika's advantage, everything. All of this can mostly be found in these foundations I made. Trading your team. High-low holds. Oh, up-down holds. Is there a proper name for that? Anyway, I just call it high-low. Because up-down sounds slightly childish. So yeah, that's all, folks. Use the code, and thank you for watching. If anyone has any questions, if anyone has a clip they want to show me, that's also good. I'm happy to look at a clip and go, yeah. Yeah, very welcome, cuckoo. But yeah, you can, if anyone has any clips, I'm happy to demonstrate how these go into it, but you'll be using this in every single round of every single game. So go forth, grow, thrive, and get coaching. Also, this graphic is so cute. Thank you, Serox. I hope everyone learned at least one thing. The session is recorded. I slightly messed up with what's on screen, but I recorded my voice for everything. So yeah. Spare clip, you want to play bomb while your teammate held close. Okay, let's have a look at this. Let's see if I can... I'm gonna... see if I can bring this up. Let's have a look at this clip that has been posted by Shikureto. Uh, 11 seconds. We can see it. Let's go. First thing I'd say, crosshair placement. If they peek you, you're going to have a hard time. Trying to play bomb 1 versus 3. They have util. This is going to be really hard. So you pick up bomb noise, of course. Spraying for that. Not peeking quite wide here is what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking because you're just kind of rushing your shot, so you're panic spraying a little bit. I think Reyna might body block. And I think she might just turn around and shoot you. No, never mind, you got a 2k. I clearly overestimated them. Okay, 1v1, they have ult. It is Sova. Let's see what happens. Reloading. Yeah, cool. You did get extremely lucky that Sova missed. However, you played the bomb. You did your best to have decent crosshair placement. The reload timing, a little bit messy, but it's fine. It worked out. Xerox. The simple things you mentioned you still forget sometimes reminded you even in Immortal 2. Yeah, absolutely. It's just like that. Like, no matter what rank you are, you can just go back and look at the fundamentals and then go, this is lacking. You can find it in Radiant gameplay even. It's remarkably simple in some ways. But that's the thing about basics. That's the thing about fundamentals is they are